Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GANS processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Any other news?
Okay, we have a hand up here with Azar. Go ahead, Azar.
Oh, she woke up.
No, good morning.
Good morning, Azajan. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Nick. I have a question from this teaching and a couple of questions from workshop 28 that I didn't know the answer myself. The question from today's teaching, when we look at the electron, proton, and neutron, and we look at the viruses, and we look at the human body, and then we look at everything created, like when you say, man, I create the man in image myself. So if you look at the sciences we study, like physics, chemistry, biology, either in high school or university or later on, because I know I dissected the body, whole body, I know what I'm talking about, when I look at the physicality of the body, when you go into the, under the microscope and look at the histology of it and everything else. So the body, everything that we study is applicable to the body. So you can see the body is, and human is not intelligent, but the body is intelligent if we allow it to work itself out. So when we look at the viruses into the body, why is it that the body can't fight the bacteria by itself? Because on a daily basis, we bombard it with so many different things, but the intelligence of the body constantly is defending us. Otherwise, if it wasn't available, we would be dead on the first day. So what makes it different in terms of the molecular and atomic level between the virus and the body, that the body cannot recognize and empty the energy of virus or work in terms of the neutron, proton, and electron? What's the barrier here?
There is no barrier. I've said many times before, a virus is a food from the space, and the food is what we eat is the food from the planet. When you eat from the planet, the interaction between the food of the planet, which are connected through amino acid, in their interaction sometimes they don't match, and we call it the bacteria. In the world of virus, we see it as temperature and interaction with what we call the energy side of the body of the man, which when it lowers enough, it manifests itself in a physical dimension, what we call the shaking and whatever else you get with the virus. But with the bacteria, because it's amino acid based, it manifests itself in the matter state. You see it like a pulse or whatever you see. That's the only difference. One has not converted into matter state, but due to calcium based, or what we call dimension of the similar fields or similar state of energy, you have the inertia of the conversion and you see the matter state of it.
Mr. Keshe, so once we start to be able to we get the soul out of our skull, soul takes over, and we can release the soul back and forth between physicality and non-physicality. We're also able to, deal with the viruses. It's going to be easy.
The energy balance deals with it, interacts with it. The spacing it, we call magnetic positioning in the field strength. Yes, it does, the body does automatically, and it's not something we don't understand. We understand so much more of it.
Okay. The question I have from Knowledge Workshop 28 is, you talk about the energy field when you make gases in our reactors. Actually, the energy that is accessible is not in the gas itself, it's between the container, if we can utilize it. And then you talk about how if you have an electric car, or it doesn't matter if you have a car which has a battery, if you use the gases in the car, your battery can go for unlimited. And also you can, even if you have an electric car, you can use the GANS to run your car without even charging it, because in the United States, they started to make these pump stations for the electric cars, which cost billions of dollars. But if you use the GANS, we can run with it. So how do we do it? Do we use it one way or the use it on the paint on the car?
No, it's a different technology. It's totally different technology.
So it's not that is not done simply just put it.
No. Put it this way: we have invested huge amount of time in development. Huge amount of time, and a lot of resources, a lot of knowledge had to be taught to the knowledge seekers to be able to bring this into work. And I'm sure in a very short time you will see that initially the electric cars will become obsolete, and then behind it the new plasma cars will come into operation, which will bring the changes. Just as they say in English, watch this space. Cannot talk much about it, but in a way, you have to understand the conversion of the energy. That's the problem, and we have not understood. I know a lot of knowledge seekers groups are working on it, finding a plasma to make electric power and the rest of it, and it's not done that way. You have to understand conversion of energy.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the 577th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 13th, 2025. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name's Rick Crammond, and I will be host once again in this endless series of workshops. And once again, we have the pleasure of having Mehran T. Keshe as our main presenter and person who is giving the teaching once again. So thank you, Mr. Keshe, for being here, and please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation, the Spaceship Institute. We are back in the same position, trying to understand the work of the creation and the creator. And once you understand this, you will start realizing how beautiful the creation is. And in a way, if you're a cook, you have the same ingredient, but you mix it different way and you make different taste, different texture, different colors out of the same thing. They put you in a cooking session, everything on the table, and they give the same ingredient to 10 chefs, and each chef comes up with different recipe from the same base material on the table. This is how the world of creation is. But fortunately, we have one cook. It's called the creator, call it God or whatever. And then the rest of it is conditions which are given that creates different recipes within the same environment of the same kitchen. We call it the universe. So in a way, we have one master chef and many tables and ovens and cutting mixture, but the same ingredient. And depends where this chef goes, on which table, or decides what to do, instead of having 10 different chefs on the different tables. So the ingredient of the cooking is exactly the same. Same flour, the same milk, the same sugar, the same other things. And we see how the master makes bread with one, cake with the other one, croissant with the same thing with the other one, oven, and the rest of it. So the world of creation is the same. We have the creator, different conditions in the universe creates different products, different ends, and they're all delicious to eat. If it's a human, you enjoy the life of a human. If you're a Martian, you enjoy the life of a Martian. It's just the taste of the one who tests and tastes the food on that table. But in essence, the creation, the essence of the created is all the same. How you twist it, what kind of dough will come and what will give you at the end. The life of cycle of fields of the creator is all the same. And how they entangle, how the measurements are, and how what strength they have give us different opportunities, different chances, physical life like a planetary system, physical life like a star which still has its own life, and then no manifestation of physicality, which man will learn very soon, but still life. In open space gaps between the stars and galaxies, you see, is not empty. It's full of life. But different recipes used to keep it together, to, in a way, exist. We only look at the life in a dimension of physicality. We call it the galaxy, and we see some bunch of them together. But as much as we see, the gaps have their own lives. They are even bigger in a structure than the galaxies. But we don't have the visualization of seeing it. In a way, we look at the body inside and we see the cancer cells. We call it galaxies. There is a still lymph, there is still a structure which we don't see because we only see which is solidified and it's there. We call it a cancer cell. So if you look at it that way, the universes and the galaxies and the planetary system are where the energy has managed to manifest itself in the man-visual dimension. Not everybody sees what we see. Many planetary and star systems, which is visual to man, is invisible to the others because the bandwidth of the string is not there. But in essence, everything is the beginning the same. Once we understand this, we go back to the teaching of last week, which we refer to neutron as to be the fundamental element that is mentioned in the books. But this fundamental element, this fundamental plasma, only can manifest itself to be there if there is an environment which can compare in the strength to. And the field strength of dictates. In the world of physics today, we talk about heating and expansion or creating pressure and vacuum, but we have actually no scientist, no research has been done that does actually the size of the neutron, the size of proton, or the size of electron changes in this heat and compression. There is a research done by Russian scientists. The West is trying to keep it very, very quiet because it's like Keshe Foundation will bring huge changes. And in the very recent past couple of years, when one of the world leaders wanted to compete in the election and he had no funds, they used this technology to fund the campaign and he won the election. Russians have come up with an amazing system that they mix materials together in a specific way and it produces about 16% of gold. And they use compression. They use a specific way of mixing, hardly any chemicals used, but when you mix certain materials, it gives you 16% gold residual. And this gold was used to, in a way, finance one of the biggest elections in past years. But in that technology, we always look at what pressure we create to what to give. I was supervisor, I was advisor to this confirmation of this technology with all the scientific data in front of me, and explained to the officials that the gold here is created out of the pressure of what happens in the earth condition if we do, and it's why we get only 16% maximum. And comparing it to the plasma technology, we create materials but out of interaction of the fields. In the matter state, we compress materials together. In the plasma technology, we never measured the size of a neutron. Intelligence research up to now has not confirmed the exact change of the size of the neutron on the vacuum condition, on the heat condition, or on the compression, or under any other. In a way, we cannot change it with the physical matter. But if you understand the plasma technology, there is a way to expand the size of neutron. There is a way to expand the size of proton. There is a way to expand the size of electron. In the world of physics, today we say the size of electron is 2,000 times or whatever of the, what do you call it, smaller than the neutron or proton or whatever. This is all physics things we see and assumption we make. But we have never scientifically measured the size of neutron or proton, electron on the matter state condition. Theoretically, the expansion in the matter state is the gap between the atoms. This is how you make molecules, how you add copper and zinc and whatever, you make, what do you call it, composition of brass and everything else. In the world of plasma technology, we can only change the size, the amount of fields in a condition, because it's not objects anymore, of a plasma condition like neutron, by specific methods, by specific ways. And this is the secret of the transmutation and transportation. What does this mean? It means in a mechanical system, to get one thing towed by something else, we use a rope, we pull it with the hand. We want to compress it, we use pressure and compress it. In the world of plasma, we can't do this. Compression has no effect, more or less, very, very slight. And there's no way we can physically tag a rope around the neutron and pull it. But we can pull neutron using understanding the work of magnetic fields, because its rope is its field strength. Its rope is the field it gives out, and how we can tag into it. This is why when you put two magnets together, one magnet moves or gets attracted. You don't physically push the magnet away. If physically the field interaction, strength of the field, dictates position. This is what we call magnet positioning. Then, going back to understanding this process, we understand, or you should have understood as knowledge seekers, a secret similarity in all conditions of the teaching of the Keshe Foundation and the matter state of today, and observation of the scientific way to exist in confirmation of physicality. If you take one part out, the other part cannot function. In the world of physics today, we say hydrogen is a proton and electron, but in fact is a neutron. We look at it in two halves, but we don't look at it as a total. And what we see as a hydrogen and a structure of the proton and electron is exactly what's happening inside the neutron. Inside the neutron, we have another field inside it, exactly what we see as hydrogen. This is why hydrogen is so important in the structure of understanding the world of physics in the matter state and the plasma state. If you look at it in a very simple way, what we see in the world of creation as a plasma hydrogen structure is very simple. And that is, when we understand this, the world of science, the space of technology and physics makes a lot of sense. We call it hydrogen and proton and electron. But in fact, this hydrogen itself has a different characteristics in a way, is a fundamental plasma, because that's what we see as an atom of hydrogen. Is a, in a way, if you look at it, if you understand it in a scientific way, doesn't have a physical boundary the way we are used to, but it has, in a way, a imaginary boundary, which we assume to be the atom of hydrogen. This is when, in a matter state, when the soul of the man passes the dimension of physicality, where the actual physicality sits between the soul of the object and the physicality of the object. Depends which one you look at. The confusion in the world of science today is that we have not identified scientifically the separation or the difference between, in a way, an atom and the plasma of an atom. If you look at an atom, it's a matter state with the physicality outside. In a condition of the energy state is the soul with the physicality inside. In a way, in this dimension, we see the created and in this we see the creation. And this is what, in real world, we have not understood the separation between the two. And this is why the plasma technology, Keshe Foundation, is out of line with the present science, because we have only been taught about the physical condition. All rules of physics is written, dictated, drilled in our head on the matter state. We have never considered the plasma state, energy state. And this is why I have always said fusion in a matter state is a dream which never come true. And now we see Chinese have done 1,000 seconds of so many times higher temperature than the center of the sun and the rest of it, and to produce atom of whatever, hydrogen, tritium, deuterium, whatever they call it. And now that we understand the same process, Keshe Foundation does it in a room temperature, everything else, because we have learned how to convert and how to transmute from one to the other. This is your GANSes, and this is your copper. This is why our technology looks so absurd, because it looks funny when you stand in front of a magician and he has a bowl in the cup and he holds with a finger the bottle. 1 second you see the cup, 1 second you see the bowl. We have not been taught the magic of energy, plasmatic field in motion. And at the moment, as I've said many times, MT Keshe Foundation You knowledge seekers are exactly not even centimeter out than the first guy when he said the earth is not the center of universe. They hung him in a church, in the house of God. And
Hello, Mr. Keshe? The sound cut out there.
yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, you said the house of God, and then the sound cut out at that moment.
Yeah, they hung him in the house of God. For what reason? Because he told the truth. Because he understood beyond what the man was forced to accept. And we are in the same position with the Keshe Foundation. We know more in the knowledge of creation other than the matter state. We have become aware of the energy field. And they crucify us, kings kill us, they put us in mental institutes, families detach themselves from us because we are now at a moment where this science of understanding the world of energy, which leads to the creation of the matter state, we are crucified. The time will come that when man understand the process of the energy transfer, transmutation, and what we teach as GANSes and the energy side of the world of creation, then the whole thing will change. Then we understand how the world of creation is, and collectively we go. And that position of the change has come. 2025 is the year where the knowledge of the energy, use of the energy, we call it the plasma, will come to be understood is as correct as the matter state we have considered. Till now, we speak about GANSes, which is a plasma. We speak about the transfer of energy to magnetic field, which is a plasma. And in that process, those who are matter state are still sacrificing. Nothing has changed than 2,000 years ago and time of when they use sacrifice the virgins for this and that. Where in the world of energy, there are no sacrifices because it's the creator of, we have control of. In a promotion video, which is getting done and will hopefully be completed in the next couple of years, a couple of weeks, you will see how we bring this knowledge for man to understand. How we will structure the position that man for the first time understands that the Keshe Foundation, the knowledge of plasma, is the knowledge of creation, and the biggest opposition to the Keshe Foundation and the work of us comes from those who are religious and those who want a financial profit. And the other group is the scientists who are in the matter state and they cannot switch to understand the energy state. But the foolish thing is we burn the wood to get the energy. We haven't managed to get energy to make wood. And this is what completes the cycle of the knowledge. In Keshe Foundation, you go from matter to energy and from energy to matter. So if you understand this, which I'm sure 99% of the knowledge seekers understood by now, is where is the similarities? Where does things fit into? And what is our position? The beauty of the knowledge is in its simplicity. We go back to the fundamental elements. You have a neutron. You have a proton, and then you have an electron. In the body of the man, we have the soul of the man. You have the soul of physicality of the man, and you have the physicality of the man. In the world of physicality of the man, you have in every structure within the physicality of the man, even in the tissue of the planet, plants, even in the tissue of the stones, you find the same principle. You have the inner layer, you have the middle layer, and you have the outer layer. So the world of creation is exactly the same, but man has not understood. This is the world of energy, this is the world of plasma, in a half physical, half materialistic, and this is the matter state detection. But in essence, everything works because they are all interaction of the fields, magnetic fields. You are getting crucified because the world of science and religion has blocked you, blocked the people around you and the rest of the world to understand this, and they're abusing it in the name of religion. In abusing it, we understand more. And those who became peer reviewers stole everything and find out how they can make it to show they are look good. Now, there is no difference between religious leaders and those who steal patterns, because the people haven't seen it, they are the ones who've seen it, like Einstein, like Stephen Hawking, and Pope. There is no difference between them in thieves of Baghdad. Now you understand, as a knowledge seekers, you understand this part of world of creation, which is being kept away, Holy Spirit, punishment, and the rest of it. And this is where the man lives. And where at the moment the science of man is playing with. They have not crossed over to understand the full structure. Once you understand this, then the next step to the whole thing, if you are now in that matter of state of understanding, was given to you as a maglev system. Without you knowing how you go back to where it came back to. And then through this, in a way, you go back to again that neutron, proton, and electron, or the plasma condition. There is no dimension of physicality. And the biggest problem is we, as knowledge seekers, as a scientist of the space, have a problem with this group, which is our doctors, our engineers, our professors, and the rest of it, because they are engineers and professors in matter state. This is too far for their intelligence to understand. Then you understand why I've been telling you maglev systems we gave you is not for energy, it's for you to understand the power of the field. There is nothing in the world of creation, which is any different than what is on this board. We showed you in a very simple system through the structure of the soul of the man. If you were with us in past few weeks and months, when the energy came from the space, you saw 3 layers in the soul of the man and the feet. Again, if you put it in a bigger structure and go back to understanding it, we saw the fields coming in, we saw the top layer, we saw the conversion between the two, and we saw the bottom layer, where this went to the soul of the man, to the dimension of physicality. Now you understand what and how intelligent you are as knowledge seekers. You understand, or you've been taught, is for you to go and understand the whole, literally, the whole process of the creation. You can go this way, you can go that way, you understand the knowledge of this way and how to come back. And for this, you're getting crucified because you understand the process of the creation from the creator to man and from man to the energy back to creator. And this is what in 2025, with the structures in our hand, will bring out. And one of the biggest gifts given to man today to change this world of the matter state is called President Trump of the United States. You will understand soon why and how we will utilize this opportunity to bring the knowledge of the man to understand the totality. Where energies create the matter, and for cycling back, we go back to energy. We call this world of the plasma of physics of today, we call this the knowledge of transmutation, where man only at this moment of time can transport. He has not managed to understand the vertical side has a horizontal side on the other side. The foundation of the knowledge is set out in the 3 books. The ignorance of the man looks for confirmation in physicality. And this is why we put the sessions on Fridays a month, for you to see the confirmation in the energy side, which is your emotion, which is your thoughts. This is what we call transmutation dimension of the energy. And this is why whatever we put out looks like magic, but in a way, we understand the simple process. And as a chef, I have taught you everything with the same recipe on the table, how to cook. You are the chefs at the table. Ingredient is the same. All of you use copper, all of you use zinc, all of you use salts, and all of you make GANSes, and all of you now need to understand more that you don't need to transfer energy into the matter energy. You can use the energy in the field energy. And then when we tell you, you go for a trip while you're on the line with us, you go to the moon and the Mars, and then he says, I dreamt about it. No, darling, you didn't dream. You witnessed the trip of your soul. Ignorance is a bliss. And when this bliss is there, you cannot do anything with it, because then the magicians use it. And the best technology, best thing has ever happened to man, to the man of matter, is show me. How do you want me to show you your emotion? How do you want me to show you your dream when you actually had the trip? This is the way ignorant, uneducated people, even in the level of professors, in the matter state, have covered themselves. Show me. If I make you to trip, if I make you to have an accident, if I make you to see your grandmother, doesn't count, because I don't see it. This is accident. This is what happened. This is, I do it in the sleep. And when we travel into space, majority of the time, with a man of space, we deal with those who are in this level of understanding. This is the universal community, and this is the man's community. Until we don't get man to understand, then the two cannot merge. And this is the job of the Keshe Foundation in 2025, to bring that merger. We use the rules and the laws of the nations to bring this into action. You will understand. You soon will understand. The biggest gift for the technology to be transferred to everyone is literally, if you understand, is given to man. Would you like to understand the energy, or would you like to suffer in a matter state? Would you like to be locked up in the planet Earth with a passport? You can't go anywhere. Wherever you go, you're a foreigner, you're an immigrant. Don't forget, there are two different words for immigrants, if you're a white or a black. If you're Asian, white, Middle Eastern, you're an immigrant when you go to a country. If you're white only, you become expat. Otherwise, white immigrant. When you enter a border, passport control, if you're black or other color, you are a terrorist. If you're white, you're a freedom fighter. Depends on the color of your skin and the paper you carry. We don't have this in space. And this is where man will learn outside to come back and implement it inside. Man has to be shown the vastness and the beauty of the universe for him to understand his ignorance and prejudices on this planet. September, October of this year. Now you understand how you as knowledge seekers understand more about the other side, and the professors in matter side, they can't accept you. Your families can't accept you because they see the matter state. You have become aware of the energy state. You see the benefit of it. We gave you the pain pen, we gave you the magraphs, and I kept on telling you, you plugged it in. I'm looking for the energy. Bless his soul, John says, when these people want to understand, they never stood on a correctly winded magraph to feel its energy. If you understand this, if you understood this process, half of your problem in standing resolute in your Understanding is the same. It's your job to explain. Then the work of the Keshe Foundation doesn't become magic and what do you call it, the guru or whatever, and it's a harji-barji. Yes, it is, because the ignorance is a bliss. As long as you do that, you don't need to learn anew. I always remember the word of the Chancellor of Sharif Tehran University. At a first launch in Iran presidential offices in 2008, 9th of June of 2008, when President Ahmadinejad gave a lunch for me returning to Iran, but I wasn't aware that there was a different plan. There were 5 heads of universities sitting there to approve the technology or not. The last vote was with the hand of the Tehran Sharif University Chancellor. And he said, Mehran Jan, you have discovered gravity. But if I say yes to this, I have to stay and see your technology through the Sharif University. And I'm retiring in a few months' time. I stay in the middle. You already have 4 votes, go ahead. This is the problem. As scientists understand, but if they accept, they have to bring the change. And this is where your knowledge seekers have been put in mental institute. You've been deprived of love of the family. You've been fighting to show something can be done because you always try to show what it does in the matter state and you haven't learned the process of conversion. And when we show it to you, for you it's difficult to understand, to be able to translate the language. This simple picture on the table, learn it, and it's the key to your understanding, to be able to enlighten the people, where in fact, if you look at it, very simple for you lot is this: tell them this is where all the scientists are, this is where the plasma and nuclear power is. We are one step even beyond that. Because if it's on CNN, we accept it. And soon there'll be no CNN in the deep space, on the moon. Would you like to tune to the rubbish talk? Or would you like to look at the beauty of the creation? And in so many ways, it's for you to understand about yourself. Energies within yourself, how you transfer from one to another, and then what you call transmutation sits directly inside you, within the structure where you receive the energy of the universe, you balance it with the energy of the planetary system. Through the soul of physicality, you create the body of the man. And this is what you have to learn how to go back. In this direction, you become to matter state and transportation. In this direction, you are in a way to the transmutation and plasma state, fields of universe. I made man in the image of myself. I manifest myself when I need, and I live in the realm of the energy to create what I like, depending where I am the chef of. Now you understand exactly how you knowledge seekers have been snookered by the ignorant people. The only difference is using the advancement into communication, you have learned the basics of the transmutation and transportation and conversion from energy to matter and matter to energy. And you have done it in a way that you're ignorant to it. You have become ignorant to it, where you put the metal and you get bits at the bottom and you call it GANSes, when it's actually is a plasma energy, and you are working in this region. You have leapfrogged, frog-leaped, whatever you like it, across the science of creation in a very simple way by a universal teacher. Because we know how to teach nursery people. We know how to teach write A. We know how to make the first sentence. We know how to teach you to spell the first word and then become graduate. My biggest fear, always said, and it makes people around me literally laugh, is we have a very big problem which pops its head out in a very near future. And I'll tell you why, and you understand it. We have, in the past centuries and thousands of years, we have made professors, doctors, priests, ignorant in the matter state. Your biggest problem as humans just starts. Because once the new generation learns about the plasma or energy in motion, then you're going to have the same professors, doctors, priests, changing their tune from the matter state. Now we understand how to Christ went and the rest of it, and the ignorant. We have a beautiful say in Farsi, we say, "Khar biyara baghali bar kun," which means now bring the donkey and load it up that these people accept this lot and this lot accept this lot. This is where your problem sits. And in a way, you knowledge seekers, most of you who understood, have made the GANSes, sit somewhere here. And you have understood this. You have bridged the gap in a small way. And that's why you're in a big problem. But your problem starts when in a few years' time, we get universities of man creating PhD and everything for the energy state, what we call the plasma, what we call the GANS state. Now, we had the war of borders. We had the war of religions. Now becomes the war of scientists. Trying to show which one is correct, which one is real, and both of them don't understand when this reduces in the field of strength in the matter state according to inertia become matter, and then when it goes to plasma inertia become plasma. In reality, what we'll see in the time of coming time is, in a very simple way, which we all understand, we see in a different way the world of Tesla, and we see the world of Edison. And we saw how Edison brought an elephant, created the electrical chair to show Tesla was wrong or was right, but it was dangerous. And that's what we saw with Tesla, with Edison doing to Tesla. We will see coming from the religious leaders in respect to the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation. You have not seen the resistance yet. We had the resistance from the ignorant scientists, from the kings who want to have it. You have not seen the resistance coming from the religious people when they say this is criminal. Knowledge of God is not for us to understand, because then we can't be prophets. We cannot be all the religious names we created for ourselves. You thought you got persecuted by your family and the friends and people around you because of this knowledge? You wait when the man of science stand the man of abuses in the name of religion. And that's to come in 2025, in the back end of 2025. And the 26th will be a battlefield between the new knowledge and the matter state knowledge and those who lose their position in the world of religion. As the famous says, you see nothing yet. You are getting problem with the family and the friends are calling you, you become a sect or whatever. I, as the Mehran Tavakoli Keshe, had to fight the kings and governments. The king plans to kill, and his proxies, like Red Circle, create everything to discredit and everything else for them, for you not to have. You have not seen what the religions will do to this technology. Because through this, you find work of the energy which gives you the understanding of the world of creation and the creator. And if you understand that, you need an intermediary. We are no gurus. We are people who understand the science of creation and teaches it freely. Never a knowledge has been taught so freely for so long by one man in voice and writing. And now those of you who go even to the other level of understanding, you tap to my soul and you get the information and the knowledge. You don't need the voice and you don't need the matter. Isn't this what you do when you pray to your creator? Or are you still in the process of making statues and hang it around your neck? It's you who has put yourself around your neck, your own noose of ignorance, and not the knowledge. We can produce as much gold as we like to bankrupt the world banks. There is an old knowledge which, if you lived in Ghana, you know it. And if you were really with the people at the point of power in Ghana, you know it. When you go into Central Bank of England, not the monarchy, but the Central Bank of England, there is so many hundreds of thousands of bars of gold. And 2/3 of it is stolen from Ghanaian gold reserve when the British invaded Ghana. We can make more gold than is in reserve of any bank, any nation on this planet. And we have shown it. And it's been tested by Chinese military, confirming it. Our General of China, after we did the test in 2023 in the mountains north of China, on our gold mine, they tried to dodge and dive that we didn't see any gold. I took scientific papers into a meeting. There were about 20, 15 of Chinese and the representative of the Prime Minister of China, representative of the Chinese military and the rest. And I said to them on the whiteboard, I said, you see these materials which you have given on the report? I give you a research paper 20 research papers, which says to you, wherever you see this material, it means there's gold and silver. You, as a Chinese government officials, as the generals in the Chinese military, which you control the test, tell me, where have you hidden the data for gold? You're stealing. You're thieving. And they got offended. You can tell anything to a Chinese, but tell him he's a thief. It's the most humiliating, degrading thing you can do to a Chinese man. To humiliate him, to bring him lower. A few days later, I was called into a meeting in central Beijing. A huge building. Wang Ning was with me. She's always used to be the translator. We don't know how much she translated correctly, whatever. The top-ranking general came, who we know, and two other generals, which monitored, came and sat on the same table. But they sat on the side and the other side. Nobody sat on the top. The gentleman who was the head of Chinese military committee sat on the top. We found out later on. And the general turned around and said, Mr. Keshe, you have found out how to transfer energy into gold. In a different way, you have changed materials into materials, energies to materials. And we accept that we hidden the knowledge. Now we confirm you are correct. It took an insult to a government to come out with the truth on the table of discussion. And because of the humiliation, there was no trust. Everything stopped. Because admitting to stealing, admitting to hiding, does not leave any much room to trust. The beauty of what we did in China is that we kept a video of these generals. And they always covered their face that they cannot be seen, but accidentally their own team sent us a video with all their pictures on it. They didn't know at the end of the picture, you see the generals. And one day I will release their name and their pictures. This will be the same with the man of rope. They have to hide for them to keep their jobs. And I made one promise. Before I leave this planet, I return the stones of Vatican back to Colosseum. Where the man was abused physically, at least he had a say in it, and he was part of it. He wasn't abused in a hidden way. Now you understand what is about to come and how games played. In a meeting with the hierarchy, families of a leadership, I was invited for dinner. I usually don't take my phones with me that day because it was a very deep discussion. There was a need for some information to be shown and to be seen. I carried my wallet of telephones. And we were asked to don't take anything up. We went upstairs. The leading family and close allies to the president were on the table. These are the people we know we worked with for some years. When I came down, took my bag was hot. I said to the officials the next day, if you wanted information on my phones, you didn't need to download it. Because you downloaded it fast, it heated up. Americans use a freezing condition. They use different method. And they got insulted. That I told them you're stolen, you've gone through my phones with the data. And contact was cut because I accused of stealing. Interesting enough, sometimes later, I went to the phone because I had so many pictures with this family. Dinners and lunches and social meeting. I could not find any pictures of them on my phone. But these people didn't know that the phone gets regularly backed up, downloaded into other servers, other hard disks. I couldn't find it. I thought, where the heck are these? Am I dreaming? It's always been on the phone. I went to archives, reserves, and they're all there. During the time I was there, obfuscating, they deleted anything to be connected to them. Again, Chinese. The world leaders who understand the power of this technology try to block it, but that time is gone. The religious leaders, not your families, will be the next step for you knowledge seekers who understood the process. You have to be resolute. You have to understand the knowledge and be kind, as I said last time, to those who find out they made a mistake. Don't make it the point of arrogance. Elevate their soul that they understand faster, that they can catch up with you, that you learn from them the new technology. We go for a break, we come back and try to answer your questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. All right, we'll take a break on our 577th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 13th. We'll take just a short break and be back with the second part where people will have an opportunity to ask questions. And I'll remind our attendees here that you'll be able to raise your virtual hand and then we can allow your microphone to be opened. And you can also put questions in the chat or preferably in the Q&A. Those on YouTube can also put their questions in the chat there. Okay, we'll be back shortly.
Water is the foundation of our life. It is part of every living creature. Pure water gives you the energy of nature. Now you can have this energy in your home. The Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer is designed for your daily well-being. It increases the pH of the water so your body can absorb more oxygen and stay in its natural condition during the day. Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer. Be pure like the water.
Okay, we are back again at the 577th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And as usual, Mr. Keshe usually has something to say before we begin the questions and answers. So please go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. First of all, we try to change the ads very soon because these are the old materials. I know you got fed up with it. We too. And hopefully in the next few weeks you see new ads with the latest product. On the other hand, as we said, tomorrow we have a session with those of the what I call the footprint of the your own soul, how you progress since the last time, or you make a new fingerprint for the future for you to compare. This session starts around 9 o'clock tomorrow and we'll go whole session. You don't need anything for this session, those of you who joined us. Just yourself. Yeah, the GANS, we said there's a lot of confusion, is for next Friday. This is just you and your fingerprint. Nothing should be there to be added, to be in your hands or whatever. The GANS, which we said with you already must have already received emails for it, gives you the instruction what GANS you need and what you need to do. And we even advise the knowledge seekers, if you have a little bit more GANS, bring 4 bottles with you, or it'll be given in your email why we need 4 bottles, or if you can do that for next Friday session. We try to understand the process, and we try to explain in a deeper way many things. In respect to the what we call knowledge of the technology. We will introduce very soon a new range of systems to make the transmutation much easier for the knowledge seekers and set up new direction and dimension in understanding the totality of the structure and how things sets and how things are and how we what we call change the position and parameters of the fields around you, and how to help you to be able to, in a way, transfer and transmute and expand the totality. New products in next few weeks will be introduced in a way to allowing your expansion of the fields, and how you can actually start doing it at home to make the transmutation much easier. You have seen this technology with us in what you call in a bigger structure in Linz. So it's not something that suddenly comes up to be, is part of the transmutation. Now the way we changed, if you remember those huge obesos to headsets, we are going in the same direction now for dimension of transmutation, where you will see a new version very soon of the systems which what we call, you've seen before, the advancement in technology and work of the Keshe Foundation has made this possible. And so in the coming weeks, hopefully, once we complete one side of our work, we will bring the other side into operation for you to see and for you to be part of. And this process is fundamental for us as you knowledge seekers are reaching a point of maturity of transmutation and understanding the changes between the matter state and the energy state. And now we're going into a much elaborate systems to be able to bring this technology home, which means you'll be able to have the same facilities as we shown before in a much more advanced way, using the cosmic ray materials, using the new understanding of the technology to, in a way, deliver to you technologies which will not be in the hand of the government, but in the hand of the citizens. And then, in an expanded way, we will, what we call, extend the knowledge into the next level in combination with what you have in your hands, what you have gathered as pieces of technology over past few months and past few years, you purchase from the Keshe Foundation, and this will be brought up in a very beautiful way for you to have literally the first basis of transmutation systems at home. You want to transfer, you want to transmute. We bring this technology in a way, in a very slow speed, that it'll be in conjunction with the transportation, what you call UFOs, and transmutation to be launched at the same time. Or we teach you prior that it can be shown by you in application and implications in the, what we call, upcoming future presentation of the technology. What you will see is a close, what I call replication of transmutation system, which you saw in a very crude way in Linz, and our people and our scientists and researchers and the others who we work with have matured enough, and the technology is matured that this can be introduced. In a way, we are introducing to you something which what I call is amalgamation of the technology in the past. If you remember when we showed these, the gas production, the CO2 production, the energy production, some 2 years ago, and now this is changed to a suitcase size and even smaller. And hopefully by the back end of this year, what was in the patent of the Keshe Foundation in 2006, 2005, which is the batteries, the miniature plasma power generators in the size of the batteries. On the back of this, reducing from these huge boxes, as you see, to a little handheld battery in your hand. We have advanced in the same way, but we have brought you with us. You will understand later on. And then what you will see in the coming time is this. We will market this as a system that you hold in the house. And in a portable way, very much the way we done with this, that you can transmute between 2 points to start with in the room to room in your office, and the rest of it. It will be sold as a twin set, and it won't be so elaborate. It'll come in a self-packaged packaging. And we will see how we will change these in the future. And we'll try to see how we will, what we call, elaborate on these in the processes of the Keshe Foundation, evolution in science and technology, and how these will be structured to show the difference. So be ready for the evolution in science, evolution in what we call the technology, which will be released by Keshe Foundation. And in that process, be ready to see huge changes to come and to be seen, and to be, in a way, the next step of what we call transportation and transmutation. Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. First, we have a hand up with Christian. I'm not sure if you meant to put your hand up, but it was up earlier, so I'll allow you to speak if you wish to. It may have been an inadvertent hand, as they say. Okay, let's go to our questions here in our Q&A. Question from the Brazilian community. How could we make the GANS of vitamin D?
Vitamin D is a radiation. Vitamin D is a matter state radiation, and it can be replicated, it can be made, and it is rather easy to produce. Very easy to produce. But you have to understand the technology. You have to understand the application and implication of the technology. And it's a knowledge which you already have. It's in the teaching, and it will be well taught. Understand what the purpose of vitamin D is. Understand how you absorb it, and you understand what it needs to be absorbed. Any other question?
Thank you. Question from Jesus from the Brazilian community. How to remove from water the hydrogen isotope known as deuterium, which accelerates the aging of human beings. How to neutralize deuterium from water.
You cannot neutralize it. Deuterium is stable. You have to find a process to extract it, more than neutralizing. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. From Goy Pure Luigi. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. About a year ago, a friend who attended a course on One Cup, One Life came to me with his little dog who was suffering from a tumor in his lower back. I gave him salts from an old cup, copper and zinc. I told him to put them in extra virgin olive oil and then massage the affected part, then clean and replace every day. The little dog is healed. The question is, did the amino acids in the oil play a role in the process? Thank you.
Yes. It does. It has.
Is the olive oil one of the better oils to use for that kind of process?
You can use any oil, natural oil. We can literally use any natural. Any other question?
Okay. Question from Antonio. Hello, Mr. Keshe. There's this man in Zimbabwe, Maxwell Chikumbutso, who has developed this technology called microsonic energy, which can power a car and generated electricity for general use. This energy, would it be similar to plasma fields that he is capturing, or totally different?
This technology has been developed by the Chinese, one of the top brands in car industry, and he has used it on the back of television. And if you listen, it was inaugurated a couple of days ago with the president of the nation present, but commercialization of it, as the Chinese say, has some technical problems with it. And first of all, it talks about it needs a battery of whatever it is, but what is not known in public, which the Chinese are aware of it, they became aware of it, otherwise this thing would have gone haywire everywhere around the world, is that this thing is receptive to explosion, and as it receives radio frequencies, you can tune it that if you use for, let's say, military cars, or if the car accidentally passes in a zone that there is a different frequency, many of them have or will explode. It uses radio frequency. I followed this guy's work for 2-3 years. It's not something new. Originally, he showed in the back of a big television screen, but they don't show the other end of it, that the television screens literally distort themselves because in certain radio frequencies, television frequencies, which this system cannot block, has created problems. The car was shown with the president present on the 10th, I think, if I'm correct. Inauguration is a Chinese company has picked up, and they're trying to find a way to block certain frequency ranges which actually leads to the explosion. And that's why this is one of the problems. And it's a radio frequency. It's amazing what this guy does. He's got no education. He's a village boy who couldn't carry on with the education himself, but he's coming up with some beautiful ideas. But again, is radio frequency based and is not plasma based. And I think in the next 3-4 months, we'll see another system like this coming up with, I think this German group who talk about use of hydrogen. And that is more expensive. They haven't managed to bring it down to a workable condition. And the same guy in Africa has made a big power generation of it. It's a big block. And again, they have problems with explosion of the systems or system malfunctioning. And a Chinese company which actually made the first prototype shown in Africa, it says they have some reservation about this technology. And this is what the reservation is. Because we see an explosion with Tesla cars, when the battery operation, we'll see this. But it's amazing what this guy has achieved. But you have to understand as knowledge seekers. I was explaining this to another knowledge seekers very recently. And it is with the Keshe Foundation, with the extent of the technologies we cover, we always see different people with different ideas, which are all correct, coming up. There is the guy who does this, you cannot bring him into other side, the same with the other things. The technology of the plasma technology applies into energy, food, agriculture, space travel, life in space, production of materials. And when you cover such a range, what you call a wide range of technology and sciences, you always see people coming up with things in parallel or the same, or use other materials to do the same. The principle is that with this technology, you cover everything. And very soon you will see one system which not only produces energy, it produces material, it produces food, it produces fields and motion, the same as Earth. Our scientists are maybe 2 to 3 months away from this position. As we said, we have produced Oasis, which was one of the most important things. Then, using the plasma technology, as our colleague just said, one of our friends, how do you produce vitamin D? In that system, you produce vitamin D and you can have the water with all the minerals and vitamins you like, if you like to drink it, or you stand next to it and you absorb the energy or receive and give. And at the same time, the system is set to lose weight and fly. And this is part of the structure of this technology. We cannot be arrogant, say we are the only solution. And I'm sure, as we have seen with our own technology, has been taken, has been modified, new knowledges has been added to, and new technologies comes out of it. And that's why we brought in what we call open, transparent teaching. We can't be prejudiced. Is it the same? Is it going to change? You put this technology and let him to fly. He cannot do. You put this technology and say grow food with it. He cannot do. Where you use the GANSes and you see in the agriculture, you use the GANSes and you see it for the wellness and the rest of it. And we never had a problem in sharing technology, and we have to respect other scientists who come up with their own intellect, their own understanding. We will see, I'm sure, in a next decade or so, a lot of mixtures of the GANS technology, plasma technology, with the matter state technology. We do it. What do you think your magnets are? You use the copper, you use the nano coating, you use the field plasma, and you create different conditions and energies. And this is the principle behind it. And we are not in to discredit someone, we are better. No, we brought a fundamental knowledge. And with it, it'll come changes. And at the same time, as I always said, there are other technologies. And as long as you're open-minded, you understand this, you have no problem. And we have to be open-minded. And this guy's done a lot of work. I followed his work because he originally showed other things. They showed the television, big screen television with a unit on the back of it, and it says this is where the plug goes in. But it's not commercialized. It has huge explosion problems with absorption of different frequencies. And in a way, it can be targeted. This is the problem with it. Intentionally or unintentionally. As I was talking to some people in the car industry, there are going to be a lot of recalls if you know how to radar it. Any other question?
Okay, from Utah.
Let me explain something to you. As I said in the past few weeks, I said it last week, we have shown how using a technology, plasma technology, we have literally not destroyed, we have wiped out, or we have short-circuited a microchip with observation from the government scientists. And he uses a microchip, he uses electronics. And you can see where the next step sits. With the plasma technology, you cannot destroy if you understand the process. You can create the new conditions, and because of the diversity of the fields, it gets absorbed in. And anything electronic in a coming time has a disadvantage in respect to plasma microchips. It's still in the patents of 20 years ago, you can find it. With the plasma microchip, you absorb the energy and you transfer it or release it. In the matter microchips, you have these kind of problems, matter state problems, and the fields within the matter state problems. He doesn't use any solar cell. He doesn't use anything fancy. It all sits inside the system. He actually, the principle behind it is he understood. If you don't understand the technology, he actually studied the work of Professor Miles in Germany. He has created a condition where it works on the scalar wave, which means absorbing energy and the what you call matter state frequencies. That's all he does. And that's all he's done. And you don't need a huge box. As I said before, if you remember a few years ago, when if you came to Ninov in Belgium in a conference we gave, where Professor Miles himself made the presentation. When I was in Germany with him, he showed me a little bathtub of children, what you call summer pool, a small one with a little boat on it. And he had a system on top of the second floor. And he said, look, the machine works and it's not Tesla's work. And as I always said, Tesla discovered the magnetical miles has, it's called a scalar wave, is gravitational. In a way, it's a black hole, but that black hole only works with the matter state frequencies and doesn't need more than a pinhead to be. Then this guy has achieved that, and he's done it very, very nicely. But still, he has matters of microchips and everything else with which it can be damaged by radio frequencies, a certain wavelength. And this is why it's one of the major car producers in China has not launched it yet into the rest of the world. They just made 2 or 3 prototypes for this guy, for the nations, sure Africans can break through technology as well. But he has a lot of beautiful things done. This guy is amazing in what he understands. He's found the principle and he works on that principle. He can miniaturize it. It's good for Africa to be done, but at the same time, he has what do you call it? Beautiful job which has been done. It just uses the scalar waves. Don't forget, scalar waves was used by Tesla in a different way, creating an infinity loop between his tower in Moscow and his car in New York. The way Tesla hit this was beautifully done. And he created this scalar wave, but he never understood how it worked. This was amazing how Tesla never understood this, but he saw the working, he understood, but he never understood the backbone to this. That's why he couldn't come up with a scalar wave. He always considered it to be one wave. He put his tower in, they say, wherever, Moscow, wherever, and his car in New York. He created, in a way, what Einstein later on said, what you call the magnetic field. He made a very, very small motor here, a very plasma powerful generator here, and these two did this. And that's why he could receive energy. We say the plasma gives always from big to the small. But he used this connection of infinity loop between the two, and he never considered that this direction of the field is different than this direction of the fields. And for giving out, you need a slightly higher energy. And I explained this very recently to one of our knowledge seekers. We can build the Tesla tower tomorrow. I know how it's built, and it can be replicated very quickly. But has a problem that if you put too many users to it, it will not meet the demand. It has a problem with it, inherent problem in magnetic field transfers this way. This uses concentration of the fields, and then when you split it, it has this problem. That's why Tesla, when he made his second car, it wouldn't run. And this is the understanding of it. That's how it works. And you can take this tower on the moon, it still will feed the car. This guy is working on this end, the South Pole, and what Professor Miles explained is the scalar waves. And if you surge it, they cannot put a filter on it. They've tried. The Chinese have tried to filter it. They filter some of the frequencies because once you go a certain bandwidth, it starts emitting energy out. But if you go certain bandwidth, it releases energy, absorbs more energy, and then it explodes. This guy has studied the work of Miles and Tesla, and he's come up with this in a miniature way, only on a frequency basis, not a magnetic field basis, on matter state. In a way, if you stop the satellites, if you stop broadcasting, one of the problems with the Chinese found out, you cannot run this system in deserts, long distance away from satellites and from radio frequencies. It has that disadvantage. It's very good, we can have a mass surge in the cities. The way your antenna dies with your mobile phone, this is one of his disadvantages of this system he's developed. It needs a saturation environment for it, but these are pitfalls they're trying to sort out. And they're working on it very hard. It's a major, they put millions of dollars developing this. If you've seen it, they say it's just a few built, and then you will see restrictions. You cannot charge it. They need to add a charger to it later on. There's a possibility that satellites will be connected to it, but will put a lot of pressure on their system if they support such a system. The Tesla system with satellite, they're looking at it, and this has this problem. You cannot support. Radio frequencies need to be created somewhere. Noise needs to be created somewhere. And it relies on the cities and in remote places when there is not, you cannot charge a battery. That's why they use a battery to charge. They say they have no battery, but they have created a storage for the energy the way they produce. But it's amazing, from a literally illiterate man with no knowledge, being kicked out of school, coming up with this technology. Any other question?
Yes, we have a hand up here with a knowledge seeker called Azar. Hello, Azar. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Rick. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. Mr. Keshe, you said, if I'm not correct, if I have it correctly, you said Mr. Trump is gonna, President Trump is gonna help us to release your knowledge publicly in the future, because
Pardon? Can you repeat?
You said Trump is gonna.
Can you change the screen, please, Rick? Yes.
You said Trump is gonna help us to release your knowledge shortly.
No.
Because
the condition created by his presidency will do that, not himself.
Okay. Because the guy was talking yesterday in the White House, and I think he's the most stupidest person I ever met. And he was talking about the aircraft carrier they just built. They were supposed to build, they were supposed to spend $5 billion. They spent, I don't know, 30-something billion. He said because they used a magnet. And the magnet, sometimes it works to lift or carry planes, and sometimes. And I said, because you scientists and yourself, they're both stupid, because if you use a magnet in a matter, so of course the magnet is going to be affected by the field around it. But if they use it in a plasma, it will work like a clock. But these guys are so just arrogant.
It's just what they give them. The guys fix about 100 different topics in half an hour. They're not actually just talk about what they've been told. This new aircraft carrier, which is on the talk, has very advanced technologies. It carries a nuclear and the rest of it. And is a combination of different technologies they use. But amazing enough, it takes 5 seconds to disable the system. It takes less now 5 seconds to disable the system. It will be a top on the oceans. With plasma technology, if you understand it, naval forces are a very good places to have an island, just put them somewhere because they can't go anywhere in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next question in the Q&A from Utah, who says, Dear Mr. Keshe and Rick, you have explained in previous training courses that the magnesium GANS can be used to restore harmony in the home. Does this GANS also work if a person lives alone and feels lonely? Or would it be better to use a combination of CO2 and zinc in this case?
Can you repeat?
Okay. Says, you have explained in previous training courses that the magnesium GANS can be used to restore harmony in the home. Does this GANS also work if a person lives alone and feels lonely? Or would it be better to use a combination of CO2 and zinc in this case?
Magnesium is usually on its own.
Okay, is that the end of your answer on that one?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Our next question is in German, and it's translated to, you've had this question come up before. I have to pronounce it properly. Vitiligo. It's a disease that causes the loss of skin color in patches. And the person, oh, where is it here? There it is. Sorry, that was not the translated question. That was the question underneath, which is from Omen. Omen says, can the problem of vitiligo illness be resolved through plasma? If the answer is yes, please guide how.
Can you bring on your
Wikipedia?
the thing? Rick, can you read the message I sent you private on Telegram?
Okay, just a second here.
Read it, please.
Okay, vitiligo is a disease that causes loss of skin color in patches. The discolored areas usually get bigger with time. The condition can affect the skin on any part of the body. It can also affect hair and the inside of the mouth. Normally, the color of hair and skin is determined by melanin.
You can use GANSes if you know what you're doing. I've spoken about this some years ago in the teaching. The Iranian scientist years ago developed a technology to overcome this temporarily. And that is by taking the skin of aubergine and boiling it and then mix it with oil and then dab it on the skin. And it lasts usually it's about 4 to 8 weeks, they say. And you have to tone it to the color of your skin that you don't see it. And it works. And this is a scientific work they've done. On the Keshe Foundation side, we don't get involved in these things, especially in teaching. But yes, there is a way you can do. There is a process you can do. But again, we don't get involved on the health section of the technology.
I think you mentioned at one point in the past that it's not something that you really need to change. It's sort of the soul has decided that, and it's sort of that deeper connection there. Is that possible?
In a way, yes. Our physicality is a sign of the interaction of our souls with our environment. Any other question?
Now back to the translated German.
Did you read my message, Rick?
Yes, I see that. Thank you.
Yep.
Says, hello, Mr. Keshe. My friend broke his kneecap a long time ago and now has a splinter that travels back and forth in his knee. Can he use the knee GANS, and is there a chance that the splinter will find its place again and grow back?
Again, write to Dr. Kern, he'll answer you.
Okay. So just for future reference, people that have health questions will need to go through the Keshe Foundation.
These are the doctors, these are the wellness centers. They know how to answer.
And there's a question about how to create the GANs of magnesium from Mehran in the Q&A. Can we create it by putting a chlor of magnesium, I guess magnesium chloride, or other magnesium salts with CO2 GANs?
You can produce magnesium, and if you can produce it from foods, you can produce from vegetables, you can do it. I think it's broccoli. Some people do, some knowledge seekers have done. We have produced magnesium in different ways, so much of it in different versions of it. You have to find out what magnesium is short of and how your magnesium is connected to what. You got to understand a lot of knowledge is out there. We can use it. And there's a lot of knowledge that if you add it to the knowledge of plasma, you can benefit from it in a different way, in a beautiful way. You have to understand what you needed, the way you need it, and what purpose you need it. And you got to remember, your body is a composite of what man calls the same. you breathe the same air, and if you don't exhale the same rate as you take in a different strength that it should be, you get pneumonia. You get water in your lung. But it's the same air. You change its composition and it produces water. In a way, I've said to a doctor, what's the difference between you not understanding the process of the water in the lung? And now, as a plasma scientist, we understand the, what we call the process of creation of energy to matter. I said it's only 15 degrees. He looked at me as I was a man from the Mars. I said, you change the way your patients are on the bed with pneumonia, and you empty their lungs with the water every 2 liter, 5 liter every few days. Just change their bed position by 15, 20 degrees. You don't need to do so. Because the way the patients are put in the hospitals, the lung pressure rises, create changes, converts, whatever you want to put it, and the CO2 into water. And if you understand the process, it's very simple. It's the same as the guru who was moving different directions, sitting up and changing his body posture, and he was feeding himself. These are the things we have to understand. What you need it for. They tell you you're short of magnesium, you take a tablet, but the magnesium has a spectrum of vegetation, solid, and amino acid of what they call human meat. Which one is your body missing, short of? You eat meat, then you eat vegetable with it, and then you eat, what do you call it, a tablet. But in fact, you might not need to eat one of them because your body saturated is short of the other one. It's very much the way they have influenced us in understanding, because that way the structure can be used or abused. If you understand the science, and we need to understand the science, and what they give to what they tell us to benefit themselves. They tell us don't smoke nicotine. Don't smoke because of nicotine. But why? All of us, in all races and colors and shapes, are addicted, use extensively nightshade fruits, vegetables, and the rest. All the nightshade, more or less all, majority of them, carry nicotine. Tomato is one of the top, I think, 3 or 5 nicotine content fruits. Aubergine. Nightshade foods are very high in nicotine. Why did the nature bring it to us? You see how you feel after you eat these kind of fruits. Just put nightshade nicotine content on the internet, it'll give you a full list of it. But they say don't smoke. When nicotine in vegetable, in greens or whatever roots, is part of controlling our neural system. Otherwise we won't eat it. It's the way the knowledge you convey. Nobody, more or less, had cereals in the morning. One advertising brought the cereal into the life that you eat it, you have all the energy from it. And in fact, it gives you every other disease than you could ever imagine what goes on these things. You just get the corn crushed and eat it, see how much you would like to eat it every day. The additives, the reports, they talk about the spikes in the sugar, diabetic, and every other illness comes. I still have, but I used to store, as part of my old operation, for one of the top brands in the world cereals. They used to store their certain materials they didn't want to be in their premises in our warehouse. And there were maybe a couple of hundred of these boxes with 4 plastic bottles in these boxes, each one about 1 to 2 kilograms. And on a regular basis, because the factory was maybe less than 5 kilometers from our storage depot, officials come, open a box, sign and seal the box, do all the paper documentation, and take 1 bottle out. And knowing these people, out of curiosity, I asked, why this is carried like gold? Why so much secrecy and control on this, and why you keep it with us? You have warehouses, you have all your packaging, and you can put these boxes. One day the guy told me something. He said, one of these bottles lasts us so many weeks. We add a minute amount of it to everything we produce for breakfast cereals. And it's highly, highly toxic. That's why we treat it this way. We don't keep it because we need regulations. You can, because under your license you can carry these things. They were literally, they know. If you can imagine, they put in hundreds of thousands of breakfast packages around the world, then they just need 1 bottle for it. 2 liters. Diluting to dilution of dilution of dilution, and what poison does it carry? But they brought us the school of thought that you need breakfast. It wasn't a fashion, breakfast, having cereal in the morning. It just, they build in our head, and we all do. And there's a lot of research on diabetic spikes. They did a research around 1980s that they took box of cornflakes, energy-wise, and it's cardboard packaging. You got more energy out of the cardboard packaging than the cornflakes, what do you call it, the flakes inside it. And they controlled how we get addicted to these things. Mineral content is a way of control. If you walk on the street, sometime they do a sample test. Do you mind if you tell us you like this, you like that, which one is nicer? And you say, yeah, I give it, you taste a few and give them a few ideas, yes, no, whatever. They're actually, what they control is a salt content. And they want to see how many people are more in favor of the salt content. And with that salt content, they control. This is why major burger chains you're addicted to, and you like to go to that one especially. The majority of the percentage of it is because of their salt content fits into your spectrum. Many people will not go to one brand, they always go to another brand because they don't like this. Because they tune into, and most of our foods are sodium based and now energy based coloring content. And this is what you have to watch, what you're using, the way you're using, and the reason you're using anything as minerals or vitamins or whatever. And as humans our race has been a mixture of everything from air, wind and fire of this planet. We have to serve all of it. When you choose a mineral or a vitamin or anything in that spectrum, you have to understand we came from the earth, we rely on this mineral. We came from eating the vegetables, we again has the same mineral but in a different spectrum. And then you have the meat side. And then there's one part which is missing in the world of science of today is the air we breathe still carries, let's say, magnesium. But we have to know how we digest it. And you have to feed the full spectrum. Any other question?
Okay, we have a hand up here from Claudia. Would you like to go ahead, please?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Hello, Rick. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Yesterday was discussing about one thing that I learned in a class about physics, matter state, and I want to understand in the plasma science. So you said that if one person transmutes, the others will learn more easily. And I was remembering a physics class where they taught about the Compton effect, which means that when radioactive energy is applied to an electron, it changes its layer but releases energies. So I'd like to understand in the plasma science this kind of energy that's released. If this energy will elevate the souls around the people that give how can I say, that have more energy than the others, like with the sessions and with this kind of things.
Repeat yourself, I think you answer yourself.
I think yes. But I don't know, it's this kind of understanding it's exists in plasma science. So because you increase your energy.
It applies, but you have to understand how to apply it. That's the key. And I think in your own talk, I think you saw the answer.
But is there it's the high energy or have like a angle and everything else, like
All
the
diversity,
position?
diversity. We get things from every direction. It's 360 degrees spherical. It's literally 360 spherical. We get everything we can imagine from all directions.
And this is near to happen?
What do you mean?
like this person could release this energy for all?
In a way, you can, but if you understand how to use your central energy, yes. We call it intention.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes.
You intend something happens, you can release the same way energies, vitamins, and everything else. And it's just understanding the process. Literally, your intentions are very powerful things in filtering out. As I said once, which is in a way you understand it in a plasma way, intentions are the filters. You target. And if you target, and you know how to target, you know how to bring energies to it, you achieve it. There's no difference between absorbing energy, giving somebody energy, or what do you call it, receiving. It's just what your intention is to receive or to give. Some knowledge seekers who've been through these Friday sessions, and they see, many of them, that they see energy coming to them. They see absorption of. We have many testimonials that people weeks after, months after, still see them, weeks after, days after, they don't need to eat. They see energies coming to them because the body calls, you have no intention of. But the intention of the soul of the body is that that's what I need. I have shown this in a demonstration with a system which I built years ago. You can target what vitamin, what energy absorbed by which part, and accordingly it's like your kidney absorbs certain energy for itself, and the liver immediately above it, it has a different gravitational field, absorbs different energy from the environment. One of the reasons that we have so many diseases, complications in our digestion area, our stomach and our hip area, is sometime, if you understand, when you get too fat, you got too much fat absorbing the energies which is need to get to the kidney, doesn't get, or is different, or kidney gets what we call protein around it, so it filters certain, so the kidney goes bad. But in fact, the energy is absorbed from in the environment to it, but it doesn't reach it, so in a way it rots. And by intention, you can change it. By intention, you can bring it into it till it does itself, and then do the next. Let the body sort itself out. And we have to do this in a space anyway. We're learning how to do it in a space. And our body absorbs certain field strength, which does affect it more or less. We had a number of surveys or reports, scientific research done with corona, confirming this. It seems that people of the certain blood type are more receptive to corona. These are the research papers which is done since, and we see certain type of damage to certain organs from certain blood types with corona, which is a virus. So in a space, we have to monitor this. We're passing through the space, we have to keep a constant field that certain people, because of certain fields they pass through, do not get certain diseases or certain changes. And we know this fully. We understand this fully. It's like when you have a pancreas, and then you have a liver cancer, what we see as the expansion of the liver or changes in the pancreas, what we call material which is released, it will give us or tells us what the condition of the digestion system is. All your life, you have a certain color stool, but when you have your pancreas through diseases, damage or whatever, or when you have like liver cancer with a pancreas cancer, you see the color changes, and the doctors literally by the color of the stool tell you how long you got left to live. Many of people with pancreas liver cancer, doctors just ask for the stool, says, you don't see it, but ask the nurse to look after you. What color is it? It's orange, and then it goes to yellow, and then it goes to creamish, and it goes to the whitish, and that's when you die, because it means the system is not absorbing anything, releasing total energy. The more energy, the brighter the color, which goes towards the white, and some people even have a transparent stool in certain diseases. We have shown, and will show again, that we gave you the magraphs, and you looked at the energy size, and I saw the greed of people, how they wanted to save you. Now they missed the point of what the magraphs do. But if you design a magraph in a specific way, and you literally be in touch with it, contact with it, it gives you all the energies you need. You need to expand the soul, or you need to expand the physicality. I'll show you something which I'm gonna, just 1 second. For security reasons, we have put a cover on it, because this is, as you know, we are trying to be good in delivering what we say, and we're getting good at it, especially with more complex.
Recording in progress.
This many of you have bought this new system, which is going to be used by you different knowledge seekers in the next few days in different conferences. If you look at this, the two black signs here, because they are customized per name, so they blacked out the name. As you see on it, it says Magnap Trinity, Cosmic Ray Magnap Trinity system. But the interesting with this is this. These two pieces. It's the same on the other side. This was the purpose of the magraphs, in a way, developed partially, is one of the system, but internally, where you place your hand. I explained this last time, now it's physically here, you can see. You place your hand on, what do you call it, on these two, or if I bring the picture in, let me take this out that you understand. These are units which are going out this week. There is the same combination on the other side, which means you have a connection here, and there's a connection on the other side. And then you have a connection here and you have a connection on the other side. You literally can, and you feel it, all of you will feel it. It's amazing what you're gonna feel, is if you hold these two, connect these two together, or connect these two together. Put one hand here and one hand here, and one hand here and one hand there, or put one hand on either side, you will get different condition of emotion, even information. And these are the new units, Trinity system, and every single one is named. That's why we put this black pieces here, as you see, that do not share this with no one. The name of the users are given to us, and we put a name on it. And I think everything is in there. Because this is going with you. And each one comes in its own packaging. You get it, don't let anybody touches it. And I think about 20 units going to sessions in the next couple of days for a session. So this will have an arrow on it, supposed to have an arrow on it. I don't see it, maybe it's on the other side, where it tells you if you want to be in the dimension of physicality, you, what do you call it, you put it on this side. Why do I have this? If you have the sign physicality on this side, and there's another arrow on the other side, or the same side, if you're going to the energy. And this is important. Do you want to only stay on a physical dimension, or do you want to stay on an energy dimension? And then what you have to do, you have to turn this unit upside down. This is one of the new systems we put out, and it has huge implication. And this is used for one of the conferences, I think 20 of them in the next few days going on. And they teach you how to reach it, how to, you cannot use it with the headphones or any other thing. Better if you have a headphone, don't try to use it with this, because they are not linked for, and we advise you not to. Then one side increases your, what we call the absorption of the physical part, and the other side is for the energy. And do not share this system with no one, not even your cats or dogs. If you can put it under a chair, and if you sit above it, then hold your hands on the two. Don't sit on the units that break, put something on top of a stool or something. And then try to do the same and see how the energy field of the system will touch you. We can produce about a lot of energy which touches literally your soul. This is different than the units with the, what do you call it, with the two handsets and the rest. This is a teaching process. It's called the Maghreb Trinity. Then you see what you can use. One of the ways we We try to, for you to understand yourself and energy transfer within you. If you remember the other units which we put out, again, that's energy development. Is, if you remember, there were two patches which you used to hold on either side. Now the technology development gives us the opportunity to be able to bring in the soul and the solar physicality into operation. And this is the beauty of it. And how can you feed one or change one? And you just do it with the intention, with the emotion. It'll be interesting. In this, there is characteristics for energy, emotion. We specifically have conditioned one for food. It's totally vegetarian. There is no meat or fish or whatever involved in there, because we don't know who's vegetarian, who's not. And so there's an element of feeding yourself. See how your habit changes in eating, or if you're hungry, you can go to the system. Do you want to feed the soul side, or do you want to feed the physicality side? This is, in its simplicity, one of the most complicated systems we have put out. It's an oasis of the soul, if I call it that way. It twins with. Any other question?
Mr. Keshe, I'm back. I have two questions. When you talk about energy field, this is something is happening recently. So I want to know what is the reason for it? Like, for example, sometimes when you talk, like you say a sentence or a paragraph, suddenly, you know, I feel the energy in my body and my heart races. Or recently I was watching a movie about the Prophet Yusuf. And suddenly, as I was watching and he's talking about something, the energy field comes from the TV, comes and I can feel it comes to my body and my heart rate goes up. I just like feel something different. And I don't know what is happening at those moments. What is...
I think, knowing you, a lot of young men used to do the same to you when they were young in university. It's the emotion which touches you.
The emotion of the person?
Yeah. How did you fall in love? You feel the energy. It's the same thing.
But is a prophet on the TV? I mean...
It's the emotion of connection of thoughts. Why do you pick up a picture of your child and brings back all the emotions, or you pick up a picture of your mom or a scenery, it brings back tears to your eyes? It's just a picture. It's the same thing, it brings emotion. Okay. The words, the pictures has that power. Don't forget, when you take a picture of someone, you, by intention or by observation, you connect, because it's part of the energy they gave that is registered on that piece of paper. The letter is the same. The music is the same.
You know, that one I understand, because, you know, sometimes if I, like a guru, I really like his words, and I see a picture of them, I look into the eyes and I stare in it, I can, the eyes become alive to me. I mean, I can feel the eyes looking at me as if he's right in front of me. I can understand this because I'm focusing on it, but something that I have no intention suddenly moves toward me. And it was just, for me, it was
shocking. Can I
ask
you a question? Something,
sure.
Maybe some of the knowledge seekers have. Do you ever had a situation that you see the image and it's like, you know, the new television system, see thousands of dots and then makes the image, but in the shape of three-dimensional in front of you? Have you ever had that experience?
Say that one more time, I didn't get it.
You see you don't see a physical image, you see an energy image, but it has bits of physicality, presentation onto it. This, in the future, the more knowledge seekers become aware of the operation of the fields, the more you will see. It's like a three-dimensional picture and body that moves around, but it's not fully energy that you feel it. You actually visually can see it.
Yeah, Mr. Keshe, what I do, I can tell you this, if I stand on a balcony and I stare and I look at the trees, suddenly a fog comes, takes everything, and then suddenly everything comes and fog goes and some things, all the trees and everything comes more closer, like I can look at the tree, but it just moves in and out.
Well, that's to do with your eye. Get your eye checked. But in real life, you're sitting down, you're somewhere, you see, it's not an image, but it's a real physicality of energy with like a speck of dust in it, if you want to put it that way. You're aware of the presence.
Okay.
This happens to me quite a lot. I see both dimensions. I see the energies. And it's not that, oh, can you see this? I mean, no, it's just that in many, it's just like somebody in front of you. It's not that you say, I feel the energy. You partially are aware of existence of another person with you.
I think, Mr. Keshe, also there's some stuff I think you're reluctant to tell us because I feel like you might think we might get scared because, you know, we talk about a lot about dreams and what the dream mean and everything, but I'm 100% sure now what I'm as happening is really is the truth in it because you never told us, because you said when you dream, it means when you go to sleep because of the circulation in the skull comes under physiological activity in the body goes lower. The soul has can get out and have access to everywhere, can travel everywhere. Okay, so for example, you say, I want to see my grandmother, I want to see my uncle who passed away, you can go see them. But now my experience tell me when I go to sleep, from the time I fall asleep, if I sleep 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, from the time I go to sleep, I go to different world and constantly activity is happening. I don't remember most of them.
You
But
do that
really,
even not talking to me.
No, just wait a minute until I finish. You see, when I wake up, like for example, when I wake up, say I'm in a market and I'm talking to someone, and I come out at like 5 in the morning, come sit on my cushion to meditate, right there, suddenly I fall back into the same scenario and I'm continuing with the person I was talking to. And then this morning, I woke up because I put my alarm clock for 3 o'clock to come and listen to you. When I wake up suddenly like this, I remember that. So it was like a metal piece. I was heating it up and it was really red. And I took a cloth and I was bending it because I want to give it a shape. And suddenly I woke up. So if I, like here, when I was listening to you, if I fall asleep, I go back to the same scenario. I'm doing it.
Let me
So
explain.
it means
Stop.
that my soul has
No.
another life someplace else.
Yes, that's exactly what I told you. I'll explain to you. When you go home and you start cooking and cleaning, does your physicality run on the street too? Or you
No.
carry on with the same? It's the same thing. Your central energy, you call it a soul, is what you call it, lives its own life. It carries on. If somebody opens the door, it says, oh, you're chopping onions, and he goes out and comes back, you still comes back 2 minutes later, you're still chopping onion. It hasn't changed that you haven't stopped chopping it, and nothing stopped because he went out. The only person who goes out is ignorant to you chopping the onion is you, because you're in it. And Your physical side of awareness of your brain is that guy who comes, have a look, and goes. You're still chopping the onions. You understand?
Yeah.
And we are chopping onions all our life. Then we go to make the soup with it, and the rest in the dimension of the soul. But our physicality comes and goes, and have a look at people. Are you okay? It's like your child, you know, are you doing? Are you doing well? How is it going? And this is what we have to understand. What we see and remember in a physical life of what we call our dream is us popping in, opening the door, but the soul is living his life. And in life, yours is limited to the village, to the house, to the car, to the city you live, and to the planet you travel. That guy has no limitation. You see an alien, tomorrow you're cooking, the day after you're with mom, but you travel to see the mom at the speed of the soul. And then your observer to it, oh, I go back and come back and still carry on. Yes, you're still chopping onion. Is your husband outside coming and looking, how long are you going to cut onion? I'm still here in the kitchen because it's part of the process. That's the difference.
Mr. Keshe is fascinating because, you know, when I go to this, because I'm so, actually, at night, I'm more busy than the daily because
You're busy 24 hours a day.
I'm very busy. Actually, I'm in different culture. Like sometimes my brother and Sonia are with me. Sometimes other people are with me. I mean, sometimes you're with me. And I just like, my God, it's just so, when I go to sleep, actually, it's not a sleep. It's just a different life.
Now you know how I live for past 50 years. Doesn't stop. Does not stop.
Thank you,
Because
Mr. Keshe.
you accept the life on both sides, or not accepting it, you're aware of both sides. But if you have ever had this, it's literally walking with you. It's somebody you sit on the sofa and you see it coming through the corridor, it just comes through the wall. But you see, these are not dreams, these are not going crazy. This understanding that other lives, universal lives, don't need manifestation of physicality. Or in certain conditions, at certain wavelength, it reflects as you buy this clothing, especially for children, which have little circle of metal on it, and as you turn it, it bright shines, and then it gets dark. It's like those. And it needs a lot of understanding, and you learn a lot from these experiences.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question, or shall we call it a day?
Well, we have a couple of questions left, but
Yeah. Let's see what they are. It's okay.
Okay. In our
Eric, please do that. What I told you is very important immediately. Even if it's taking them off and then load them on later on every year.
right. I'm not sure which.
I'll send you a picture.
Yeah, it's not coming through for some reason. It's just going around and around, and I can't see the image. Maybe try that again.
I'll resend it to you.
Okay. So from Jonathan.
It shows to me that you've seen it.
Nope.
Okay. Let's see. I do it again. Have you received it now?
It's trying. It goes around, but it won't let me look at the picture. It's all blurry.
Maybe what they call it, after session, because your computer is overloaded. You see it. Okay, carry on.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk later about that. From Jonathan, who says, I have two questions today. In the 575th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, you revealed the concentric layers in the brain, starting with the soul in the center, then the hormones, then emotions, and then the body on the outside. Where do our memories reside in relation to these layers? Where do we receive them? And where do we create a wall of resistance to prevent access to them? Thank you.
Emotion. We make the wall of access by emotion. The way we create our cancers with emotion. That's all it is. We don't want to. We had a very interesting case of understanding in the Alzheimer's, where the family and the people get concerned about the person is disturbed, but in fact, now they have to face what they wanted to forget, and it creates some traumas. But if you go into detail and ask them, they tell you it's exactly what they didn't want to remember. And now, with opening the structure, they have to deal with it, and they don't want to. So it becomes a problem. There is something wrong with what I did or what you do or whatever. We create emotional barriers. And that emotional barriers sets the... I can put it in a way, in the physical part, when we have a problem with our daughter, for example, as a mother, or our mother, we get a cancer on the left side, scientifically said so. You have a problem with your son or a daughter, which you wanted to be a son, you get a prostate cancer. Or something you cannot accept as a man, you get it. That's your physical part. In the emotional side, you change the carbon, so you block the information. In the body of the man, the end of the nerve is the conversion of the carbon at the end, no difference. In the brain, you do the same. And then they say, oh, they see patches in your brain. The neural system controls your emotion and physicality, or what your senses in emotion in physicality, and the emotion does the same in the brain. And then we see patches, we say this is connected to Parkinson or Alzheimer's and everything else. Your emotion changes it, where you get chopped your finger, and then you have a pain, and then you have that's a physical part. Here you do with the emotion. And I've seen this many times, many times. People with especially Alzheimer's have this dilemma when they start processing. They have to accept it, and it's very hard. This is what I didn't want to remember. I created conditions for it, but the plasma technology overrides the condition. Now you have to handle with emotion. And a lot of them come up with, I'm sick, I've never been like this, but ask one simple question. Have you faced your, what I call demon, as I call it? Isn't this what you wanted to forget? That's why you created Alzheimer's. You look at especially we see in women. It's very prominent. There's majority of we see in women. Their lips shake, like Parkinson. Sit down and talk to them. It could be continuous, or it could have been one occasion. We won't tell them when it started, and we'll take them back. Whatever, we know how to do it with our system. They've never been allowed to speak their mind. Just shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. And then see the husband and behavior between the two. I want to talk, but I cannot talk because, I'm always wrong, I've been told so. The mouth shakes, wants to speak, and you call it a Parkinson. Find a psychological reason behind it. You'll see it's gone. feed the soul, that it feeds the emotional physicality, it's easier to solve it. Any other question?
We had another question from Jonathan here. He mentions, in the past you have explained that minerals of various isotopes have very different effects on the body, and that a plant source, animal source, and elemental source are all different. You mentioned, for example, that adequate calcium is required to support strong musculature. On the other hand, we have learned that the thymus, thyroid, lymph, and bone work together to balance our minerals in the plasmatic condition. So the question is there a place for mineral supplementation, and can levels be accurately evaluated? The question breaks
Well,
off.
yes, doctors know how to do it. Doctors fully know how to do it. Doctors know fully how and what to measure. You see, the problem is alternative medicine has been, or what we call alternative traditional medicine has been blocked by what we know how it was done and the reason it was done. But in places like in China, which you have both, they call it Western medicine or traditional medicine, medicines are not as effective as they were 100 years ago. We discussed this before in some of the teachings. Because farmers have added so much chemicals that the composition has changed and the field strength has moved up to another strength. So it doesn't do what it used to do, because your amino acid, your body was used to it. Because majority of the traditional medicines comes from the same area that people live. So they got what they were short from the ground. Within 100 kilometers, within 50 kilometers, that's all it was. Nowadays we take things from Africa into Asia and everywhere else, and we created more problems by just moving foods around. The composition of the foods are enormous now, and with it are new diseases, new conditions, new emotions. We used to be traditionally oranges for winter. Near Christmas you had nectarine, or what do you call it, satsumas, or whatever you call it. And then you have watermelon season. Now you get watermelon 12 months a year, 24 hours a day. You get oranges, doesn't matter, summer, winter, whatever. Our body, our emotions have changed. Our expectation has changed. And this creates different field energies. And the new material, genetically modified, releases totally different energy than the fruit with normal. As we were talking before, it's crazy, absolutely crazy, that nowadays they charge us for bio, whatever, natural products, and we go to a village, we go to Africa, they live on bio and they don't pay 3-4 times more than what we do. And there's no guarantee, just the bag says bio, you don't know if it is actually bio. For what the villagers live in the remote places, poor people live off the land, we pay 3 times more to eat what they eat. And when you eat in the villages, in districts, which you actually eat from what comes from the land, the food is totally different taste. It has a different texture, because there is a modification. Even they have modified crops. You taste the difference. And so we absorb different energies. In Chinese herbal, we had long discussion. We signed a contract with Chinese traditional medicine university in Beijing just before Corona. And in the discussions with them and everything else, I always told them, I don't accept your work. I don't accept to test your herbs or your whatever you use. You have mixed so much in it. I want, that was their job, to find a traditional remote, what do you call it, vegetation. And then we cultivate it through plasma technology, that there is no chemical. And then what we will see will be the glory time of the Chinese medicine, what it used to be. Because there is no modification, there is no genetic change, and there is no what do you call herbicide, pesticide, and the rest of it. And that's the reason. We have changed by time, by cultural changes and mixing together to this point. And our body hasn't moved with it yet. Some cases does, some cases don't. When I came to Europe, exactly nearly 50 years ago, if you wanted lentils in England, was not heard of. People didn't know what it was. If I asked for a chickpeas, I had to go in a remote place away, or to an Indian shop somewhere, they were somewhere, to buy lentils because it wasn't there. Paprika and aubergines and these things was something luxurious for foreigners. And now in every shop you see them. People like hummus and people like couscous and the other thing. And we have mixed these and our body is not ready for it. And on top of it, we've modified the genes to suit us. You get a bag of orange and squeeze oranges out of it. You get not a single pip out of it. There's not a single seed there. How could it be? How did they regenerate it if there is no stone, there is no seed in our food? Because then nobody can copy, so they control you. And this is what I said. What you see in the unit we just shown is the beginning of that change. And I wanted to see how many of you who come in touch with this and you can trigger it the right way, stop eating because you feel don't need, because you took the energy. That's all it is. We transfer energy by food. Now, these units you've seen are the beginning of that cycle. See what happened with your cramps, see what happened with your emotions, see what people talk about you is changed. How come it didn't change before you buy the unit? How come you didn't stop eating because of it? See how much of your addictions goes. Chocolate, whatever. Write down and report it back to the people in the session, and we get the feedback and we know how much we do. Do we have to produce very soon a vegetarian version, a vegan version, and a meat version? Yes, it's on the card. Would you invite your friends for dinner and give each one of them one of these systems, and they sit in front of it? We have chicken and chips, and they all have to, because you create the intention of emotion, the system sees and they accept. And so we have, I want my chips without salt, and as the Chinese takeaway says in England, do you want a sore finger? Because they can't say salt and vinegar. So that change we promised you, it has started creeping in. And this new system is one of them. It's for you to know yourself and to see what you need. And report back to us. And the ones who say, I don't feel anything, I have to say I don't feel anything, otherwise I have to accept the change in me. Any other question?
We did have a couple of questions in the chat from Stefania that I'd like to address. One of them is, can you go deeper on the layer of the skin and the neutron, proton, and electron, please?
There's no going deeper. There's similarity. They're similar to each other. Because the inner side gets energy from the soul, it gets from internal energies. It's different than what is outside, but outside takes different strength of energy. In a way, as much as we take, the environment needs from us to give, because it's shorter. It's not that we throw everything out. The environment has to have a need for what we want to give that it can take. And it's the same in primarily where the strongest sits is the center of the energy. But at what field of strength?
Okay, our second question is, do you target energy by bringing attention to the part?
Yes, it's one of the ways done for centuries and decades. The pen pens you have, if you understand how to use it, you can not just use it for pain, is for repairs, for upgrading. But we always look at what we need. We don't look at what we can give to. Any other question?
I think I'll just say one last one here. Actually, let me see, just hang on a second. From Hong, who says, using the unit CMR Soul Connect, is it possible to communicate interactively with the fetus in the womb of a pregnant woman?
I stay out of this.
Okay, and can this unit use one headset for me and another headset for multiple people to use?
As long as you don't give your headset to anybody else, keep to yours, you can do anything, because then you can communicate with them. And you have to tell them somebody else has used it.
Okay, one last comment from anonymous attendee in the Q&A, and that's Mr. Keshe, make sure you elevate your soul more than anyone else so that no one else can play hanky-panky and use the Creator's technology for power and greed. I'm sure that's how the Creator would want it.
I don't know. We don't play hanky-pankies, but let's see what comes up and how things take shape. For those of you who join us tomorrow, please be on time, because if you miss your slot, we cannot reallocate you because there's so many people on the queue. And having multiple systems, it's very hard to do. But please be on time. We start, we're there, and we disconnect, because it's you get about 15 minutes window. And as usual, we send a picture of your what I call movement. And this time we have two pieces. The right side, which is a single figure, is the configuration of your central energy, and the one on the left is your physical dimension, then the soul of physicality. It's more detailed this time. It's much interesting to see how much the lines expand, how much the distances between the lines, which way you're taking energy. Are you taking the energy from left to right or right to left, and the rest of it. And those of you who are with us next week, next Friday, please make sure you have the material with you, because it's very important, and we try to interact with you in a different way, much deeper than before. Any other question we leave to next week? Yes.
I think we're done for now. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and see you hopefully next Thursday.
Yes, indeed. That will be the 20th, and that, so far as we know, it'll be at the same time, 9 a.m. Session for the 578th. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe, for today's 577th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And we look forward to the next one. Thank you, everybody, for attending here today. And our next public teaching workshop will be coming up next Tuesday, February 18th. That will be with the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace. And that is with members and support members of the Universal Council. And they always put on a lovely show, and based on the soul aspect of the plasma technology. Okay, thank you again, and we'll go out in our usual manner. And bye for now, everyone.